I'd like to welcome Acting Dean Salim Shaheen, Mr. Mazen Darwazah and his wife Rula, our inspiring innovators from the companies who are going to inspire us tonight. Beirut, Tariq, and Fu, our faculty at OSP, our faculty at AUB, dear students who we hope will truly be inspired tonight. Welcome to the first Darwazah Student Innovation Contest. My name is Bijan Azad. I'm the director of Darwazah Center for Innovation Management and Entrepreneurship. This contest is organized by the Darwazah Center, but also by a generous grant additionally from the Darwazah family. It's our first contest. Our agenda tonight will be as follows. First, we'll hear from Dr. Shaheen, a few words from about the Alliance School of Business. Then Mr. Darwazah will speak on behalf of the Darwazah family. I will then give you a brief overview of our center's activities. I'll be very brief. Then we will hear from our inspiring innovators, 3 AUB grads. Then it will be followed up by Lama Hotait, who is a center staff, and she will be going over requirements for the contest, which I think most of you are to hear about. And then afterwards we'll have refreshments. So I would like to, without further ado, ask Dr. Shaheen to say a few words.
Good evening. First of all, welcome to the Alliance School of Business, and thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Darwazah, for joining us. Thank you, Bijan, for leading the center and this great initiative, and thank you, Lama, for your contribution. Thank you all for being directly or indirectly a member of this initiative. I'm sure this is the first one of a series of work within the Darwazah Center. In the year 2000, Bruno Billet, the international editor of Journal of Finance, performed a study about entrepreneurs in Ivory Coast. His conclusions were that entrepreneurs are young, single, and educated individuals. Well, that's true. These individuals are likely to have the capacity and willingness to venture in new businesses, assume their risks, and to make profit. And this is kind of the enlightenment of Bruno. This is just to make sure that we feel the work of Bruno. He also added in his study that the most risk-taking entrepreneurs in Ivory Coast are Lebanese. That's also true. Why do we expect them to go there? To have fun or to work in the 90s? Entrepreneurship is an attitude. It's about innovation and risk-taking. And who is better today than Mr. Samih Darwazah to represent entrepreneurs in the Middle East? After 13 years of experience in Eli Lilly, Mr. Darwazah came back to Jordan and founded Hikma Pharmaceutical in 1977. During the last 36 years, Mr. Darwazah created and empowered a top management team of family and non-family members. He made Hikma the jewel of Jordan and took it public in 2005 on the London Stock Exchange. Mr. Darwazah was recently elected as the #1 leader in emerging markets in healthcare, according to the Script 100. Today, Hikma Pharmaceutical is a $4.5 billion multinational company with about 6,500 employees spread globally. We're lucky to have Mr. Mazen Darwazah today, the son of Mr. Samih, to represent the family. Thank you for being here with us again. Mr. Darwazah is the vice chairman and the CEO for the MENA region of Hikma Pharmaceutical. He's also among other responsibilities, the vice chairman of the Capital Bank of Jordan. And more importantly, Mr. Darwazah represents a family who is an active member within our Middle East Advisory Board and also within our Board of Trustees at AUB. The Darwazah family remains an active and instrumental player in shaping our ecosystem to stimulate and encourage entrepreneurs and enterprise creation and development in the Middle East. We're proud and honored to have you here with us, and without further ado, I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Shaheen. Thank you all for being with us. مساء الخير, يعطيكم العافية. I'm very proud and glad with being with you here today. ومرتي قالت لي ما تعزوهم كتير لأنه إحنا كنا تلاميذ زيكم بالزمانات. I will try as much as I can just to give you a small brief of some of the principles that the company started with. Dr. Shaheen, you talked about Ivory Coast and about entrepreneurship and about the skills and about the risk taking. Samih, who's my father, دائما بيقول إنه الرزق is the رزق. والرزق بالعربي is the adventure of going out and trying to seek an adventurous process whereby you can imagine. And Samih, he imagined and he dreamed a lot. And as my aunt used to say, it's very important to be a dreamer. And dreams are very important in your life if you can dream how to grow with no inhibitions. And today, when I look at the Arab world, I work a lot with NGOs and a lot with the World Economic Organization, and I always say the strength of the Arab world is you. You represent 60% of our population, and you are the entrepreneurs of the future. You are the key takers that can take this world into a better, prosperous world whereby we can compete on a global level. I see no reason why a girl or a boy from Saidoun or Tripoli or Irbid or Baghdad or Mansoura or Tripoli or Algeria cannot compete with a kid from Amsterdam or Barcelona or London or Tokyo or Osaka. Today you are in a very respectable institution that has provided education for generations in this part of the world. Both my parents, Samih and Samira, were lucky to be part of this institution, to have graduated from here. And they gave us the merits as a family, and they gave us the basics, the fundamentals of well-being, being good citizens. طبعا رولا, when I met her, she was a freshman here at AUB. تعذبنا شوية أولها لأنه we were of different cultures, different background. But the beauty about the university is that it's a cultural hub where you can aspire, where you can dream. I'm on board of several universities. When I go to university, بقول لهم في الفرق بين جامعة وجامعة. When you go in, there are universities when you go in you find political posters, elect so and so, انتمي لحزب كذا وكذا. And there are universities when you go in, you find art fairs, you find culture, you find music, you find entrepreneurship spirits. And AUB and Lebanon, يعني بقول دائما إنه what preserved Lebanon were two fundamental issues: the diversity of the people in Lebanon and their different backgrounds, and the institutions, the educational institutions in Lebanon. This is what kept Lebanon sane, and this is what kept Lebanon going on. So when we as a family decided, today our business in Jordan and in the Arab world is very small, by the way. In Jordan, which we started 35 years ago, it represents 2% of our business. Lebanon represents maybe 0.01% of our business. But we're very proud of what we have as a hub in Lebanon. And I always say it's the human capital that counts. So as dreamers, as entrepreneurs, when we started this process with AUB, the basic cause of it was how can we create opportunities for generations to come in the Arab world, not only to dream, but to dream and have the capacity and have the instruments to go and fulfill these dreams by doing a methodological system whereby they can implement ideas and processes. And who better was than the Alayan Business School to partnership with. So I hope that with this program, it's a long-term program by the way. يعني في كتير قالوا لنا إنه why don't you build a building, why don't you do scholarships, why don't you do a monument? This is not the idea, no. The idea is soft skill development. It's research and development. It's a long-term process. يعني when they wrote a case study about Hikma in 1992 at Harvard Business School, which they still teach today, why should Harvard Business School write a case study about Hikma? Why shouldn't AUB write case studies about Arab institutions? We have great companies in the Arab world. Why can't they be part of our curriculum? Why can't you as entrepreneurs start ideas, which I hope today we will hear some kick-off ideas and start-up companies that can give us a beacon of hope in this not miserable time. I say the Arab world still has challenges and it is positive. I'm very positive about the future of the Arab world, especially after what happened مع الربيع العربي or the spring or the autumn, whatever you want to call it, because it created a challenging identity for all of us, how to excel, how to be more internationally compliant with laws of respecting human beings and the freedom to think and to dream. So dreaming, aspiring, being entrepreneurs, having good governance, first-class citizens, admiring the beauty of the place that we live in, I think will be a great formula going forward. So I thank all of you for joining us and being part of this program going forward, and I wish you all the best of luck. And I'm very confident that many of you in the future will be great leaders that will take the Arab society and the new generation going forward. Thank you for your time and being with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mazen Darwazah. Really, that was very inspiring. I have to say a little anecdote. I saw Mazen 2 years ago, or maybe 18 months ago, and I was visiting Hikma, and we were actually doing some executive education preparation. And then they told me, Mr. Mazen Darwazah wants to see you. I was very intimidated at first. I said, okay, what is it about? When I entered, I really appreciate the style that he portrays, very down to earth, very inspiring and aware of both constraints, but also the opportunities. I really think the family, but also the children represent great hope. And I think, the center being established and also the way Mazen pointed out that, they're interested in promoting knowledge, not just buildings. And I think we're at the university, we really appreciate that. So without further ado, I'd like to start my so-called presentation about some of the initiatives, some of the activities that we're doing. Yeah, please. So I will just share with you some of the work program, starting with our strategy. What we have basically tried to do is that we want to focus, and really I think the spirit was portrayed by both Dr. Shaheen and Mr. Darwazah, is that we are focusing on entrepreneurship and innovation, but distinctively focusing on both challenges, opportunities, and the region. So one of the first things we did, we looked at the ecosystem to determine what are some of the unmet needs and focus on them. Why? We didn't want to duplicate, because there is a lot of activities going on in this area, especially by NGOs. And we really were important for us, like everything else we do, is that focus is key. So what we decided to do in addition to that, we have to build on our core competencies at the UB, the university, and at OSP, and also the AUB brand. So based on that, we have basically launched the following activities that I'm saying this is some of the activities, but I want to share with you the progress. We have added a core course to our MBA curriculum on innovation management. It's been fairly well received. We're still working out the details. It's a second semester that we are offering it. I think I can say some of the students are in the crowd, that it's doing well. Second, we have also launched funding activities aimed at doing research on, again, these distinctive challenges. The grant process was started last fall. We have applicants that we're going through, and that research will be started very soon. In addition, and this goes in line with exactly what Mazen just mentioned about focusing on best practices, but also some of the challenges and opportunities locally, we are doing teaching case development on startups. This also began again last December, and we have quite a few applicants in the pipeline. I myself have started doing that. Actually, some of the candidates are actually in the audience. I think this is very, very important because, again, we teach you a lot of cases that are Western, but I think we really need to build up our portfolio about the practices that are local. What are those challenges and opportunities? One of the very, very important initiatives that we are very proud of, we just launched this spring an experiential learning hybrid course in collaboration with industry, co-taught between AUB and a firm, on basically doing startups. This is in collaboration with foo.com or foo.mobi, sorry, and it's basically taking an idea of innovation all the way through by groups of students. We're doing groups of 3, and then at the end of the course, we pitch that in front of the investors. What is very important is the experiential element, because I think we have looked around and we found out that in our region, experiential teaching is quite rare, and that's where we think really important to beef up the skills that bring in practice. The industry practice is very important. I am very proud to say that my colleague at foo.mobi always corrects me when I lecture people about the theories of something. He says, wait, in practice, these are the things you need to worry about, especially in Lebanon or in the Gulf or other places. And finally, we're very proud to launch this first student initiative. Again, we looked around and we found out that actually, surprisingly, student-led initiatives are not that many. In fact, I haven't seen one that focuses on innovation. So we thought it's very important to do that. And we I want to say a little bit about inspiration. How did the inspiration came for this? As you see, one of the things in the graphic, it says how far you can take your idea. You look at HECMA. Here is a global manufacturing firm. If you know, we teach you this. Middle East is known for services. And if there are manufacturing firms, there are very, very few. Here is a company that, as Mazen said, dreamt and took the idea global, now listed on London FTSE. I think that's an amazing accomplishment, but what we want to also be clear is that it's not the idea itself, it's how far you can go with it. And how far you can go with it, it means working through all kinds of challenges, dealing along the way with failures, learning from them moving forward. Learning from failure is as important as also clocking some successes. And I want to kind of highlight some of the things that really excited us by looking at Mr. Samih Darwazah's book. And you see these some of the themes that we have tried to focus on: initiative, passion, looking forward, not looking backward, dreaming big, standing out from the crowd, making sure focusing on the market, survival is important, importance of values, opportunities, being global, and finally giving back, and at the end, family values, and also focusing on our own Middle East. We think this is really, really important as a spirit really that characterizes the prize, and going forward, we're really excited that we have so many people in the room today, and I seriously am hopeful that all of you, if you don't, I'm sure most of you don't win, but all of you will submit the best you can. So to inspire you, I'm going to introduce our 3 speakers. We have Shadi Tabbara from Beirut.com. We have Rami Khawandi from Tariki. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing or spelling that right. Tariki. And we also have Eli Nasser from Foo.mobi. Sorry, that's a misspelling. I'm going to start with Shadi, and he's going to walk us through some of the both successes and challenges that he's faced, and we can learn a lot from him. Please, Shadi.
First of all, it's an honor to take part of the ceremony. It's always it's great to see that we're moving towards more contests, more competition, and more opportunities. So thank you for that. I'm going to talk about the story of Beirut. A couple of years back, I was sitting with friends. We were discussing how we can start something new, something innovative, something different. And then we sat together, we started discussing these ideas, and we were also discussing how we can complement ourselves. So as a team, it turned out that we have over 15 years of experience in more than 10 countries. This is split between technical and between operational. So for the first 2 months, we came up with basically nothing. And then we put 4 criteria to start. One, of course, our startup should answer a need, and it has to be a really big one. This is the value that we're going to add to society. 2, it has to have a lot of potential. 3, it has to be scalable, so we can take the model and replicate it everywhere. And 4, it has to be sustainable. So all of these together, we started brainstorming and we started researching. We did all our homework. And after a couple of months, we came up with an idea that we thought might be the next big thing. And people are always searching and looking for something. Whether it's that coffee that's going to wake you up, or that ATM that's going to save you, or even that gadget that everybody's talking about. So people should search and find these stuff, and it should be very easy and simple. But in reality, it's not. So we thought that maybe we should have an alternative. Maybe this is an opportunity for us, and we should see how we can actually make people, including us, find things and places faster. So from an idea 2 years back to an actual full-fledged operation. This is when we created Beirut. Beirut is, first of all, acronym formed by the words browse and rate. Investors ask us, so what is Beirut? We tell them, it's the best way to find places and services near you. And you could also know everything about them. What does it mean? Let's take a very simple example. Let's say you're looking to drink a coffee, back to our example. If you take a look at all local search engine or directories, basically, and you search for coffee, you get coffee shops near you. But it's not really the universe or the places that all cover coffee shops. You can actually get a coffee from a restaurant, you can get it from a pub, anywhere. And this is exactly what we do. As of, we actually tested it with the restaurants, and now we're rolling out the products and services to all 300 plus categories that we cover today for Lebanon. So basically, if you're looking for any specific thing, we will tell you where to find it. And then we said, okay, so why stop here? You searched, you found what you're looking for, but it's not enough. So we introduced also a rating system that is different than any other competition, local, regional, or global. And we saw initially that people were writing, let's say I want to rate a place, I rated, let's say, 4/5. It doesn't mean anything, 4/5. What is 4/5? So you have to then justify it with a review and write 3-4 sentences just to say what you have to say. So instead, we added detailed rating, and every category of business has its own set of relevant ratings, making the whole process of rating a place, for example, for a restaurant, the food, the atmosphere, the cleanliness, all of these details, whenever you want to rate a place, it takes less than 10 seconds. instead of 1 to 2 minutes. And this is exactly what Beirut is about, making things faster, simpler, and easier. Of course, in the mobile app, you can, we say rate, you can rate a place. You can also leave tips. We also introduce hashtags, where we are the first globally in our industry to introduce hashtags to make things even faster and easier. You love a place, love it. It's a great burger, Queen's Burger. It's really fast. So this is tips, and complimentary, you can also check in if you want. And of course, we're developing all of these and making them more in a more complex model. So all of these together, if you wanna visit a place and you want to rate it, you want to leave tips and all of these details, it takes less than 20 seconds. The good news is that Beirut is free for everybody. Now, 98% of our users are searching Beirut and actually calling places, finding them, and getting directions. But it's really not enough. Anybody can do that. So, as of April 2014, we're also introducing very similar, the first step of e-commerce. So if, let's say, you're looking for a certain gadget, specific one, let's say the iPhone 6, we will tell you where it's sold, basically on a local scale. So we will tell you where it's sold, and we will give you all the details, so you don't have to waste your time and money. This is where we're heading in the coming months. So how are we doing so far? Let's go back. In 2012, we had almost 12,000 unique users the full year. This is when we started. In 2013, we closed with 70,000 unique users that actually searched using Beirut, searching almost 400,000 queries. With our current growth, we're expected 250,000 Lebanese will use us this year, especially with the upcoming innovations that we're bringing to Lebanon. So all of this is helping us on a monthly basis to grow by double digits when it comes to traffic. We also started monetizing last month with the soft launch of the Beirut for Business, and we have a lot of products that are incoming. And basically, what's also helping us to grow is every month we are releasing a new feature. Every month there's something. Especially when it comes to technology, you always have to give something new to make it interesting. And this is exactly what we're doing, specifically with the innovations that we have in the pipeline for Lebanon. Now, I'm going to talk about some of the recommendations that we actually, some of the learnings that we actually follow on a daily basis. And of course, we learned them the hard way. One, listen. Most of the people hear, but very few people actually listen. Okay, feedback is the most important key to your success. It's always about feedback. And actually, Beirut, when we started, we were part of a competition as well. We did not win. We were finalists across the Middle East and North Africa, top 14. But we did not win. However, we used the forum to get more than 200 plus feedback from all the different, from investors, from professors, from other students and colleagues. So use this. This is a great opportunity and try to capitalize on it. It will help you a lot in the future. Two, if you think that something is wrong with what you're doing, any service, and if other people think the same, odds are it's wrong. So whenever you feel that it's wrong, just change it. You don't have time to waste. Three, try not to copy the same thing everybody does elsewhere. If it works in the States and Europe, it doesn't mean it will work here. Try to add value and change it, adapt it, or take some ideas, adapt them, and then make it different. And finally, very important, prioritize. To have a great product, you need a lot of different resources, a lot of things that combining them will get you basically this great product. But for example, we are a startup and we are still limited in resources versus larger companies, of course. So what we do, we work at one thing at a time. And this is exactly why every month we release something. We keep the excitement for users, and we keep bringing innovation in the pipeline and to our users as well. So with that, I'm going to thank you for this great opportunity. And thank you. And I'm going to also ask you to download the Beirut application and start with Beiruting this great university. Just download it. It takes less than 25 seconds to actually sign up, search for EUB, and Beirut it. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rami. I'm a former student here at AUB. And I'm going to tell you about a senior project that turned into a product. And it's called Tariqak. Although it was introduced as Tariqi, it's called Tariqak. Some of you may have heard of it. It hasn't been out for a long while. And so how it started is basically I had to do a senior project, right? And I was a computer science student. And I've always thought that as a computer science student, as a software developer, much like Shadi said, you have to solve a need. You have to solve a problem, address a need. And I don't think the resolution here is helping us. Can we check it, please? And so I had to come up with this idea, and I was thinking, what's a problem worth solving? I mean, as software developers, we solve problems. That's how we're trained to think. We take a big problem, we chunk it down into mathematical, tiny problems, and then we solve it. So, so what's a problem worth solving? While I was thinking that, I was stuck in traffic, and it was very frustrating. And I thought, this is a problem worth solving. And so, although there has been a few apps that address this, mobile apps that did address this, where you report, where you tell other people where there is traffic, they haven't really been great in solving this problem. And it's mostly because when you rely on human beings to tell you, several things can go wrong. 3 things of what can go wrong is, 1, people have no incentive to report, right? So why would if I'm stuck in traffic, why would I choose to tell everyone? It's not the first thing on my mind. And the second thing is, people can choose to lie, and some people do it just for fun. And the third thing is, and that's the most important one, is that it's not road safe. You should not be entering information into a phone while you're driving. And so Tariqak is basically an automatic reporting solution. And it says bas lahza, so it's been made for Lebanon. All the user interface is Lebanese Arabic. But yeah, so you can see here, so we're only seeing a portion of the screen, and I'm not sure if we can solve this. Yeah. I'm sorry? All right, so we're just gonna have to